Tonight,
the first trial for any public official that has been impeached twice.
did President Trump commit an impeachable offense playing a role in the deadly Capitol Hill riot? That's what senators are deciding as the second impeachment trial of the former president is underway. And protecting victims of religious persecution. How the Biden administration could use refugee resettlement to provide safety to those suffering around the world. All this and more tonight on Faith Nation.
Let us pray. Eternal God, author of liberty, take control of this impeachment trial.
With that prayer begins the second impeachment trial of former President Donald Trump. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Jenna Browder.
Good evening. I'm John Jessup. For the first time in American history, a second Senate trial for the same impeached political figure. This time, former President Trump facing the charge of inciting an insurrection for his role in the deadly January 6th Capitol Hill riot.
With Trump no longer in office, many Republicans say he can't be impeached. Today, House managers kicked off the trial, though, by laying out why he can. CBN News Capitol Hill correspondent Abigail Robertson joins us with tonight's top story. Abigail, how did the House managers make their case for constitutionality?
Well, the House managers started the trial today by showing a dramatic video of the events of January 6th, and they juxtaposed this video with President Trump's speech ahead of the riot right outside the White House. And they used videos that many of the rioters themselves took. It showed them walking up to the Capitol. It showed them going through Capitol barricades, beating up police officers, storming through some of these barricades and getting inside the Capitol. It showed them inside members' offices. And it even showed the graphic and tragic moment that one protester was shot and killed. And this is sort of going to be the House manager's strategy of playing to the Senate jurors' emotions, having them relive January 6th, which they were most all inside the Capitol for. And the House managers, they came out of the video and said, if this is not an impeachable offense, then what is? And then made their case for why they believe it is constitutional to proceed with impeachment, even though President Trump is no longer in office. Take a look.
President Trump may not know a lot about the framers, but they certainly knew a lot about him. Given the framers' intense focus on danger to elections and the peaceful transfer of power, it is inconceivable that they designed impeachment to be a dead letter in the president's final days in office, when opportunities to interfere with the peaceful transfer of power would be most tempting and most dangerous, as we just saw.
And lead House impeachment manager Jamie Raskin also made the point today that if the Senate votes it's unconstitutional to hold an impeachment trial for a president that has already left office but been impeached by the House, then what is to stop future presidents from doing whatever they please in their final month of office?
Abby, switching gears here to the president's team, can you talk about his attorney's defense strategy?
Well, the president's lead defense attorney, Bruce Castor, made the case that this is an attack on the Constitution. He presented an argument that this trial, since Trump is no longer in the White House, is unconstitutional in itself. And then he also said that using President Trump's words from that speech against him is a violation of the First Amendment. Take a look.
This trial is not about trading liberty for security. It's about suggesting that it is a good idea that we give up those liberties that we have so long fought for. This trial is about trading liberty for the security from the mob? Honestly, no, it can't be. We can't be thinking about that. We can't possibly be suggesting that we punish people for political speech in this country.
He also made the point that this is the second time in 13 months that many of these senators are serving as jurors in an impeachment trial, and that impeachment should be a rare occurrence in our country and not become a normal thing.
Abby, a quick follow-up here. This is a different set of House impeachment managers, different defense attorneys. What else are some of the key differences in this Senate trial?
Well, the Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts is not presiding over this impeachment trial as he did the last one. It is being presided by the Senate President pro tempore, Patrick Leahy. Another big difference is Senate Democrats are now in the majority, so they're kind of driving in the driver's seat here, and Republicans are now in the minority. And so the Senate has control. The Senate Democrats have control of the Senate right now, and they can kind of determine sort of what happens moving forward.
All right, Capitol Hill correspondent Abigail Robertson. Thank you, Abby.
Well, a majority of Americans believe President Trump should be convicted at the close of the impeachment trial. A new Politico Morning Consult poll finds 54% of registered voters either somewhat or strongly agree he should be found guilty of inciting an insurrection. And 58% say the former president should be banned from running for public office in the future. By party breakdown, 23% of Republicans say President Trump should not be allowed to run for office again. Only 19% say he should be convicted.
And joining us now, David Brody, CBN News chief political analyst and political reporter with The Hill, Julia Manchester. Both of you, good to have you on this historic day in Washington. Julia, to you first. The House impeachment managers, they started off by arguing for the constitutionality of the trial, citing founding fathers and past officials who'd been impeached. How effective did you find their argument?
Well, I thought probably the most effective part of their argument was that video, the video of the attack on the Capitol. It was absolutely chilling. And we also saw a number of clips that, haven't, been aired as much in the media. So it was definitely a very chilling thing to see. And the way it was edited, with the timing of President Trump's speech, his tweets and such, and what the lawmakers were in the chamber voting on the Electoral College certification, you really got a sense of the progression of what happened that day. So I do believe that was effective, especially effective at getting that group of lawmakers who was present for this attack really to relive that day. Now, do I think it'll result in Republicans coming over to the Democratic side to vote to convict? Probably not in large numbers. However, I think in the court of public opinion, which may not matter in this case, ultimately, it was very effective.
David, do you agree? Do you think this could change some of those senators' minds, perhaps the public opinion?
Not at all. This is what we're watching is a political sham. I don't think there's any question about it. Look, Julia mentioned that video, an emotional video, horrible images, 100%. We all agree on that. Here's what was not in that video. When Donald Trump said, it's time to march peacefully and patriotically, his words, peacefully and patriotically to the Capitol. That wasn't in the video. That wasn't in this video that the media is fawning over at this point because it was so well done. Last time I checked, when you take videos out of context and when you don't include every single thing to make it exactly what it was at the time, which is peacefully and patriotically, which is what this president said, you got to include it. Look, I'm not suggesting that there wasn't obviously rhetoric in there that would fire some people up, no doubt about it. But you got to play all of the comments, and we're not getting all of the comments, not to mention the fact that we know, as there is independent reporting out there, that this attack was already pre-planned before Donald Trump spoke, and the attack was going on before Trump was even finished speaking. And so I can go on and on about the fact that he said the word fight a few times in an hour and 15-minute speech. So, look, this is politics like we've never seen before.
Julia, in the run-up to the trial, Trump's defense team indicated they'll argue 2 points, the constitutionality and the process, but also his First Amendment right to free speech. What do you make of the latter argument there?
Well, I think in terms of the First Amendment right to free speech, that's definitely going to play. That's something I think a lot of Republicans in the Senate are going to be able to relate to, maybe because we've seen this argument within the Republican Party. And I think it's this overall argument of, Democrats would describe it yelling fire in a movie theater. It just wasn't, they would argue it just wasn't the appropriate timing to use this rhetoric, President Trump saying, fighting and such during that address, and maybe the rhetoric from Rudy Giuliani, Donald Trump Jr., and Mo Brooks from Alabama. That rhetoric, they would argue, was very inflammatory as well. But President Trump's attorneys will argue that he was well within his constitutional rights to say that, and that it was in the correct context, because he did not literally say, go down to the Capitol and break in. I think you're going to be hearing the word context quite a bit through this trial.
David, final thought.
I think Julia's right. I think the context is everything. And, Democrats are going to paint it a certain way. Republicans will paint it a certain way. But sometimes, we always hear about words matter. Well, words matter. And once again, if you go, look, I've watched that speech at least 6 or 7 times in a row, Donald Trump's speech. There was just a handful of times he said the word fight. And by the way, let's ask Maxine Waters if she said that word. Let's ask Chuck Schumer if he said that word. I can go down the list. The point is that word is said all the time in politics. So the only words that he used there that everybody should realize is peacefully and patriotically. And I'm not quite sure why media outlets aren't reporting that. I really wonder about it.
That's going to have to be the last word. David and Julia, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you both. Coming up, reviving the American economy, the latest negotiations on COVID relief.
Hey, if you're tired and exhausted all day, you can't think clearly, and you really just need a cup or even a pot of coffee to get through your day, then join me, Dr. Josh Axe, for this new series where I'm going to teach you how to transform your diet and use essential oils and supplements to get a better night's sleep.
Wake up to your best life. Call 1-800-700-7000 to get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
It's about the competition.
I kind of put that pressure on myself, and I think people had expectations.
It's about overcoming.
We use this phrase all the time, keep chopping, keep practicing hard.
It's about going the distance.
I think as a father, it's my job, to lead, just be the best husband and father I can be.
Watch Going the Distance with Sean Brown Saturday night at 7:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Orphans Promise is committed to loving and serving at-risk children, to helping keep families together, and to creating opportunities for strong and sustainable communities around the world. We're working in over 60 countries around the world, and with your help, we can do even more. There's an old African proverb I love that says, if you want to run fast, run alone. But if you want to run far, run together. At Orphans Promise, we want to run far so we can touch the lives of as many orphaned and vulnerable children as possible. But we don't want to go alone. We're out to change the world, one child, one family, one community at a time. Will you join us?
Well, it looks like the House will include a $15 federal minimum wage in its final version of its COVID relief bill. It's still unclear, though, if it will be considered by the Senate. Meanwhile, as senators hear arguments in the impeachment trial, Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is vowing to not let the trial stand in the way of COVID relief.
It was said a few weeks ago in all the punditry and everywhere else that the impeachment trial would throw a wrench into President Biden's early agenda. We are here today to say we are not letting that happen. We can do both at once. We are working when we can with our Republican colleagues to produce a big, bold piece of legislation that will help us deal with and get out of this awful, awful crisis. We look forward to working with Republican colleagues to make this COVID package a reality.
Tony Perkins is the president of the Family Research Council, and he joins us now for more. Tony, we just heard Chuck Schumer there say Democrats are working with Republicans on COVID relief. You wrote in an FRC article that there's a lack of bipartisanship in the relief package. I take it the two of you are operating on two different definitions of bipartisanship.
I think so. Now, there was truth in what Mr. Schumer said. It is big. It is huge, in fact. $1.9 trillion is what we're looking at. I mean, every Republican senator that I have spoken to, and I've even spoken to members of the 10 that met with Joe Biden, there is no effort to have a bipartisan approach to this. This is just, more political theater, but they are pushing this thing through. And the sad thing about it is that we've already spent about $3 trillion on coronavirus relief, on average about $20,000 per American worker thus far. This will raise it up to $32,000. I think Americans have to ask, what have I gotten for all that money?
Tony, if the president's unwilling to work with Republicans in support of this COVID relief package, is there any hope anywhere else for bipartisanship down the road, do you think?
You know, it's sad, but I don't think so. I mean, I think, look, we are very divided as a nation, divided politically, ideologically, divided spiritually. I mean, it is. There's a lot of talk about unity, but let's be honest. The only foundation for unity is truth. There's got to be some truth in our political discourse. And when you have an administration, that is advancing, really setting a pace when it comes to leftist ideas, including redefinition of gender, enforcing that on elementary schools all the way up into colleges and sports, it's hard to find common ground with an administration like that.
Tony, real quickly here, Republicans take issue with the president's nearly $2 trillion price tag. Where do you think that number should land?
I actually think I've spoken to a number of the senators that met with the president and offered the roughly $600 billion plan. Look, we haven't even spent all the money from the last plan that was passed at the end of the year. So I think it's a more targeted approach, getting the vaccines out, taking care of those issues, not bailing out the blue states like the Democrats want to do for their poor management and for shutting down their economies in response to the coronavirus. That's the wrong place to spend money.
On President Trump's second impeachment trial that kicked off today, Tony, your thoughts as you watched?
Sad. I mean, look, it's sad to be. It's just a sad time to be in Washington, D.C. If you have gone, and most of the viewers probably haven't seen it, and the pictures don't do justice to what's happened around our Capitol, where you have the military presence, you've got 10-foot fences with razor wire all around the compound. It's like being in a third world country. I mean, I've gone to the Middle East, I've been to Sudan, I've been to Turkey, and it's not as bad as it is here in D.C. And to make the point that this is political theater, we had our offices had to be boarded up along with many, many businesses going all the way back to June when Antifa and BLM were protesting here in the city and the officials would do nothing. Those boards are all coming down because the threat is gone. But yet we see this $500 million initiative on Capitol Hill to put up this security, all for political theater. It's wrong.
All right, Tony Perkins, the president of the Family Research Council. We have to leave it there tonight. Thank you so much. Good to see you.
Thanks, Tony.
Good to be with you. Thanks.
Refugee resettlement in America, how the United States can help those being persecuted for their faith. After this.
Daddy?
Yeah, buddy?
How many nickels are in a dollar?
There are 20 nickels in a dollar.
How do birds fly? Does milk really make my bones stronger?
Yeah.
Daddy, when we die, will we go to heaven?
Do you have the answer to life's biggest question? Call the 700 Club. We'll help you find answers to the important questions life brings your way.
Watch breaking news, in-depth exclusive stories and programs from health to entertainment you won't find anywhere else. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Enjoy credible news reporting from around the world. Discover inspiring programs and stories of hope, all in one place from a Christian perspective. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. To watch the CBN News Channel, download the app or visit cbnnewschannel.com.
Hello, I'm Dr. David Perlmutter, board-certified neurologist and #1 New York Times bestselling author. Wouldn't it be great to boost your energy, eliminate brain fog, and even reverse brain disease? Well, you can, and I'm going to show you how, along with some of the world's most well-respected brain experts in this DVD, Protect Your Brain.
Get Protect Your Brain, a free DVD only from the Christian Broadcasting Network, featuring experts on the cutting edge of neuroscience and brain health.
No matter how many times you've failed in the past, you really can do this.
In Protect Your Brain, you'll discover simple strategies to keep your brain young and healthy. Improve your memory. Discover the gut-brain connection. In Protect Your Brain, get your free copy at cbn.com or call 1-800-700-7000.
If you want to improve the quality of your life, get the DVD Protect Your Brain and get it today.
Welcome back. The amount of refugees America allows in every year has been a topic of debate in recent years.
Yeah, the numbers are about to go up, and the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom is holding a hearing tomorrow to discuss refugees fleeing for religious persecution. Jennifer Wishon explains.
It is an important program, certainly to refugees around the world, and one that can be controversial from time to time here at home. And for more on what we can expect at the hearing, we're joined by Gail Manchin, who serves as chairwoman of the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom. Gail, thank you for joining us.
Jennifer, great to be with you this morning. Thank you.
Gail, the U.S. Refugee Admissions Program was created in 1980. What is the purpose of this program?
Well, certainly the purpose. The United States has always reached out to people that are vulnerable, that they're welcome in our country, that people that are fleeing a country, and they can be fleeing for many reasons. Of course, for you, sir, we focus primarily on people that are leaving a country for religious persecution or the fact that they have been exiled from their country. But millions of people, in fact, 3 million people have actually resettled in the United States in 2019. There were almost 80 million people globally that were refugees. We have about sort of a general average of about 95,000 refugees that come into our country. Of course, under this past administration, that went down to about 15,000.
Mm-hmm. So if President, well, I was just going to say, I know President Biden wants to change that. What kind of change in numbers are we talking about?
Yes, so President Biden in this new fiscal year wants to raise that to 125,000. And of course, that will be a welcome change. I mean, the United States can't urge other countries to accept refugees and to work with refugees coming into their country and not be a model themselves.
What are the criteria? I mean, I know there was criticism years ago under the Obama administration that we were letting in lots of Muslim refugees, not so many Christian refugees. And, you know, I mean, who's keeping score, right? Persecution is persecution. But how do we determine, I guess, if people are facing religious persecution, if they should be allowed to come in?
Monitoring countries that are certainly restricting religious freedom, then those are the countries that probably people, as those restrictions get worse, as the persecution gets worse, then those are the people that are trying to leave their countries. Now, obviously, you will always have, from any country, people that have the wrong motives for leaving or have the wrong motives for wanting to come into the United States. And that's why, you know, at the end of the day, it's the process. It's how do we process these individuals as they come in? How are they vetted? And then how do we provide that humanitarian support?
You're right about that, and we will certainly be watching the hearing tomorrow. Gail, as always, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you, and I would encourage anyone that is interested in knowing more about the whole refugee situation to tune in.
And if you would like to watch tomorrow's hearing, you can find the link to do so on our website at cbnnews.com. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Jennifer. A pop-up experience has people stopping on the sidewalks of New York City. We'll explain next.
I am Region's first ROTC graduate student.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm Ephraim Graham. Welcome to Studio 5.
Get on it.
All that's new and now in the world of uplifting entertainment with celebrity interviews.
There's a higher contribution I will make.
Musical performances.
I'll give you my best praise.
Plus movie and TV news.
See it and be uplifted.
On Studio 5. Every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern at cbn.com/Studio 5.
How'd you like to get a redo on your health, on your body, on your arteries, so you could have the energy you had 20 years ago? The great news is you can. I'm Dr. Mike Roizen, chair of the Wellness Institute at the Cleveland Clinic. I've written 4 New York Times bestsellers. But even better than having to read all that, you can listen to this DVD and watch it. Protect your heart? Yes, you can. Here's how.
Go to cbn.com or call 1-800-700-7000 for your free copy of Protect Your Heart. Let the medical experts show you their new discoveries on how to avoid heart disease and even reverse it. Easy steps to uncover the hidden dangers in your medicine cabinet, reduce stress, and get a complete do-over for your health. Call 1-800-700-7000. That's 1-800-700-7000. Or go to cbn.com to claim your free copy of Protect Your Heart.
Well, finally tonight, since the pandemic began, many professional musicians haven't had a venue to play their music.
A new pop concert series is aiming to change that, though. It's called Musical Storefronts. Now, through mid-March, performers are taking over empty storefronts to bring live music back to the people in New York City. The music is pumped onto the sidewalk for everyone walking by to enjoy. The free concert series will consist of 60 different shows featuring everything from orchestra music to Broadway. And because it is a pop-up series, locations of the concert will only be announced day of. You know, it's nice to see, we could all use a little bit more art, a little more music in these difficult times.
Pretty ingenious. Well, thank you for watching Faith Nation.
Have a great night.